Welcome to One Man's Tracks, the secondhand music channel. I'm going to be taking a page out of today's teenage band's passionate displays of honest vulnerability so that I can properly praise a group that I wish I'd given a little more time back when I was in high school. A band that, through thick and thin, has still managed to maintain relevance and grow an impressive catalog of emotional pop rock hits for 20 years now. Let's talk about Paramore. Forming in Franklin, Tennessee, when brothers Zach and Josh Farrow teamed up with Haley Williams and Jeremy Davis in Taylor York's parents' basement. This youthful, Christ-loving crew of pop punkers collided in 2004 and would be propelled by Haley's outstanding vocal abilities, signing to Atlantic subsidiary fueled by ramen and getting flown out to Florida to rapidly record their debut album, All We Know Is Falling. It's a great, albeit rather formulaic, introduction to Paramore's inoffensively engaged, angular, punkish pop songs, spotlit by Williams's powerful performances. All We Know has this nervous tension to it that seems to hold it back creatively, but also imbue the project with an endearing sense of determination. It certainly played its role in exposing the band to a larger audience, and through intensive touring, music videos, and MySpace, they'd create a solid foundation upon which to build their next album on. Even with the consistent will they, won't they interpersonal relationships, like Jeremy's questionable commitment to the group, as well as Haley and Josh's romantic connections, they persevere and set out to record and release this. In June of 2007, through Fueled by Ramen, produced by David Bendeth, it's Paramore's multi-platinum selling sophomore record, Riot. An uninhibited, angsty blast. Riot's heartbroken anthems were jet fuel for Audie's suburban mall rats. With more dynamic range than their debut, its theatrical, emotionally empowered track list is filled with cathartic pop rockin' eruptions, alongside the occasional devotional crooner to help ease the stream of confrontational, riotous rippers. It's an invigorating, shout it out loud, pretty little emo album that does occasionally lack in depth and grit, but still provides such a premier nostalgic snapshot that's so catchy and freeing. A feeling that's well captured by its high energy, rebellious gatecrasher. For a pessimist, I'm pretty optimistic. Hitting us with the classic soft to hard, tempo shifting, punchy choruses, with Haley sounding absolutely triumphant. This in your face opener sets the stage for an absolutely textbook sing along power pop anthem. That's what you get. Just a top tier, head thrown back, humbling exercise in heartache that is brilliant. It leads us to a track that was initially written for their debut, but mostly to appease the apprehensive label heads in the first place. This is Hallelujah, and it's the first of a few soaring, not so subtly Christian rock numbers that are far too bright and over the top for me to take seriously. They're catchy, no doubt, but undoubtedly corny. Its celebratory sensation does feel a touch more justified when the early Paramore defining pièce de résistance misery business comes ripping on in. It's just an undeniable track, with Haley putting on a clinic over its vengeful post-punky riffs and atmospheric builds. It's a slamming, gripping earworm that just feels so good. When It Rains is this longing, swifty ballad that's lost and grappling with being blindsided. It's rather inoffensive and fairly forgettable, especially after Ms. Biz's show-stopping energy. The fact that Let the Flames Begin follows it doesn't help either, because we're back to that fiery urgency we got with the opener. It's great, intensifying emotional waves crash down really effectively, but ultimately I feel like this song is just a little bit too short and doesn't end up delivering that final satisfying blow. An ending that does lead nicely into Miracle, but unfortunately for me, beyond the first verse of that song, the partially guised god rock choruses are just too preachy for my taste. Where I think Let the Flames sort of fall short in its runtime, it's pretty appreciated the snappiness of this track list when I can just step back for the short period and take in Miracle more musically rather than lyrically. Because there's not a single song that's over 4 minutes on this entire record. It just keeps cruising along with crush, crush, crushes, empowered, accusatory attitude, fist pumping, head shaking dynamics, and tense, hooky melodies, completely erasing my memory of whatever that last track was. The soft, droning atonement of We Are Broken is the last hard to swallow corn salad ballad before we get a couple more bangers to close it out with Fences and Born for This. The jazzed up, anxious drama of Fences with its jumpy fanfare and theatrics, sort of reminiscent of a Panic at the Disco song. That track teamed up with the driven, screaming release of the finale, Born for This, makes for a killer 1-2 anthemic emo pop punch that'll have you dancing and singing like nobody's watching. Coming in a tight 39-minute package showcasing Hayley Williams' impeccable range as well as the band's tenacity, this breakthrough record embodied the moment and fits right in with their much older emotional alternative peers. It set the stage and launched Paramore to become one of, if not the premier pop punk act of the 2000s. A straight up expression of adolescent turmoil. This certainly smells like the final waves of the MTV alt-teen spirit fading away and moving into the internet age. A transitional, ubiquitous snapshot of the aughts right before the hyper-fractured, oversaturated media landscape started to overwhelm us all. There are a couple other versions of this album that have live versions, demos, as well as an acoustic version of Misery Business that I quite enjoy as well. Their full live album, The Final Riot, that was released in '08, is a lot of fun too, and it helps to reframe this track list with an entirely different ordered set list, as well as a few more drawn out versions of some of these tracks. They'd follow Riot up with the equally potent Brand New Eyes in 2009. It would be the first album to include Taylor York as an official member, as well as the last to include Josh, with him and Zach leaving the group in 2010 before they put out that singles EP in 2011. Their self-titled fourth record was recorded with a session drummer, Elon Rubin, a pretty formidable session drummer if you ask me. It came out in 2013 and premiered at #1 on the Billboard charts. It was a celebration of the band, but also a signaling of the end of an era for them. 2015 saw Jeremy finally leaving the group for good and subsequently suing the band over some musical ownership rights from their self-titled album. Hayley, going through a divorce at this time, even left the group for a brief period, leaving it in the uncertain hands of Taylor York. I think after recording a few albums under the name Half Noise, Zach did come back to Taylor and Hayley. They got a trio solidified, and they would come back into the studio in 2017, record and release After Laughter. Haley released a pair of solo albums in 2020 and 2021, leaving fans once more uncertain on the future of Paramore, but again, they'd get back together. Haley and Taylor are now together, and Zach is still holding the backbeat nice and steady, and they released This Is Why, the two-time Grammy Award winning album, just a couple of years back in 2023. Zach has recently dropped a neat little solo album under his own name, and Haley's got a new one coming out real soon too, likely with Taylor as producer, as he helped on her previous solo efforts. I think the track list might have leaked online now, so that might be what I'm getting up to just after this. What are your favorite songs, albums, memories, moments of your Paramore fandom? I'd love to hear them. Leave me a comment down below. How long have you been on this emotional roller coaster ride? If it's been too long, well, that's what you get when you let your heart win. Whoa!